Hey everyone, this is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment tour and demo on the 2022 Hyundai Venue and its 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with navigation. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at the Venue. This is a car I don't think many people are familiar with, but it is Hyundai's smallest SUV, and here it is, finished in denim. In fact, this used to be called the Denim, but now it's called the Limited. This is the top trim of the Venue. We've got a two-tone colorway here, white top, white mirrors, and just overall a very cute little package. And I quite like driving this thing around, and it's so cheap. This thing is only 23 grand for a top trim loaded model. So a car that I think more people should know about, and I think people could find a lot of value in this car. And if you want to learn more about the Venue, make sure to check links in the description for our full review, sound system test, and more. Cool, let's go ahead and hop in and get started. Show you some of the technology in the Venue. Whew, it is mighty cold and rainy out today. So let's go ahead and start very quickly with the gauge cluster. We just have a very traditional analog cluster here with two physical gauges on the left and right for our RPM and our speed. But in the middle, we do have a very small screen that you can cycle through and view however you'd like to view it. So we control that over here with the right-hand side steering wheel buttons. You've got three tabs at the top. You can get to those by pressing the menu button up here. We'll start here on the far left and we'll just scroll through here. We have a digital speedo, we have a trip computer, accumulated trip computer, and a fuel economy gauge. You can see we've been averaging just about 30 mpg. This is for our lane keep assist. As you can see, we can toggle that on and off with this button to the left of the steering wheel. You can see your attention level as well as tire pressure if you are driving the car. Can't read that while the car is stopped. And over here we have settings for various things: driver assist, door, lights, convenience, service interval, other, switch your language, and also reset all of your settings. And that's it. Not much going on here on this tiny little screen, but you have to consider the price point for this car being a fully loaded car at $23,000. I quite like this cluster. I've never minded an analog cluster that isn't fully digital. I don't know why people are so obsessed with having a fully digital cluster, because I really like the way that this one looks, and this little screen does everything that you would need it to do. So then let's go ahead and move on now to our 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with navigation. Let's talk about these physical buttons at the bottom before we get into the touchscreen functions. We've got a row of buttons here below the screen: radio, media, a favorites button, which is the star. We've got seek and track controls here in the middle for your radio. You've got a map button, a navigation button, and a setup button. So let's go ahead and go through and see what these actually do. Volume knob here on the left-hand side. It's quite a large, chunky volume knob. When we press our radio button, it'll turn us on to whatever we're default. So we're on Symphony Hall here on Sirius XM. And to kind of expand on this, you can see how this all works. We've got our channels here on the left-hand side. We're able to seek with these two buttons here in the middle. But if you don't want to use those, you've got another knob over here on the right-hand side that you can seek with as well. We'll take another brief look at this once we're looking at the touchscreen. So let's move on here to our media tab. Right now, we don't have anything plugged in or paired, because we'll get to that later when I show you Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but this will take you to whatever projection you have. Favorites button will also take you to your phone projection. We looked at those. Your map button, of course, will take you to your sat nav map. Your nav button will take you to your navigation screen, and your setup button will take you to your settings menu. So let's go ahead and go back home, and we'll take a look here through this touchscreen and show you how that works. So we've got three different screens here. We've got our home screen, which I always really enjoy in Hyundais and Kias. They do a really good job displaying everything you need to know in a very attractive way, in my opinion. On the left-hand side, we've got our time, we've got what we're listening to, and on the right-hand side, we've got a very calm display of our map, or our navigation. Upper right-hand side, we have the city that we're in and outside temperature, as well as weather. We can see that it is very cloudy out today, and that is accurate. To get out of this home screen, you simply swipe right, and it takes you to your first page of apps. You swipe again, it takes you to your second page of apps, and these are our three different home screens on the base level here. We've got map, nav menu, phone, phone projection, voice memos, valet mode, HD radio data, setup, radio, media, blue link, notifications, and a digital user manual. Let's take a deeper look here into this map. You can see it is currently in day mode because the lights aren't on. You can see we've got a little bit of lag. It doesn't run as fast as it could. As you can see, I'm dragging this around. You should also be able to switch the way you view this. You can see you've got a bird's eye view now there. You can zoom in and zoom out here on the left. And you can also move this around if you want to set a destination somewhere. I don't know if you want to go over here. You can set that as your destination, and it'll tell you how to get over here into this neighborhood. Neat. Okay, we'll go ahead and cancel that. And we'll go back home. Let's take a look here into the navigation menu. This goes along, of course, with our map. You can search different POIs in here, and it'll give you, whatever, gas stations, Starbucks, whatever you want to do. This way you don't have to type in an address. If you really need to get Starbucks right now, you can click coffee shops, and it will give you some nearby coffees. You can go up to Hyperion. Cultivate is actually no longer open, so that is a little bit of an outdated entry. Let's see if you got some chains down here at the bottom, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, all of those things. But anyways, it'll give you all of the nearby coffee shops there, and the same goes for gas stations, restaurants, anything else. You can also look at nearby Hyundai dealerships. Pretty neat. All right, so that is the navigation menu, of course. Oh dear, I have activated my Siri. I did not mean to do that. And then this is the menu here if you actually want to search an address. Phone menu here if you have your phone paired, and we'll get into phone projection in just a minute. I will show you guys Apple CarPlay and Android Auto at the end after we've taken a look at the in-house the in-house infotainment. Voice memos, similar to what you have on your iPhone. You can store voice memos in here, and they will just hang out in your infotainment system if you, for some reason, need to have voice memos. If you think of something while you're driving and you really want to remember it, well, then there you go. Valet mode right here. HD radio data. This will give you like all the Sirius XM traffic, radar, and fuel prices. Settings menu, which you can also get to by clicking the setup button here on the right-hand side, but this will just give you all of your different settings for the infotainment. Let's take a look here into sound settings. You can adjust your tone, position, all that sort of thing you can do in your setup menu. Screen layout, you can switch that as well. Display settings. You can adjust your brightness here. I have mine set on auto right now. You can also turn off the beep. So we'll turn off the beep for the rest of the video. You guys can experience this system without it beeping every time I touch it. Over one more to the right, let's take a deeper dive into the radio menu and just show you guys how this works. You can enter your channel over there on the right-hand side, but what I want to do is switch my source. There we go. Okay, so source is up on the upper left. You can switch through FM, AM, and Sirius XM. I love this volume knob. It feels quite nice. And if you don't want to use the volume knob, you've got controls on the steering wheel here as well on the left-hand side to adjust your volume on the fly without taking your hands off the steering wheel. Again, tune knob over here on the right to get you through these stations. You can also manually scroll here on the left. If you're a visual person, you're able to see these. These are favorites that I have programmed over here on the right. You can see, or excuse me, over here on the left. You can see that it'll take you through Sirius, FM, and AM. Okay, let's go ahead and go back home. Of course, I failed to mention, home button is up here on the upper left, and to the right of that, you can edit the order of your home icons as well. Okay, you've got a user manual down here. Oh, interesting. It just gives you a QR code. Okay, so you scan that QR code and you're able to get your owner's manual on your phone. You've got Blue Link, which will just give you data similar to SiriusXM. Notifications tab. See, we've got no notifications. And that's really it, guys. These Hyundai and Kia infotainment systems are so simple and so usable on such a base level, and they work really well. They're attractive to look at, and I really appreciate the simplicity. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and plug in my iPhone, and we'll take a look here into Apple CarPlay so you guys can see what that looks like here on this 8-inch Hyundai infotainment display. Okay, I had to cut there because I had some music come blasting through, but as you can see, here's Apple CarPlay. No wide view here, just 4 apps across, 2 apps down. Everything seems to react quite nicely. Oh, we're going to have to start the car, getting a battery discharge warning here. Excuse me. Just have to listen to this little 4-cylinder idle for the next couple of minutes. But here is Apple CarPlay. Everything seems to work quite nicely here. To get back to the main Hyundai screen, you can click this little Hyundai tab here and it will take you back. Let's take a look here into Spotify. You can see how that works. You can see now playing. Everything seems to react quite nicely in here. We'll take a look into Waze. Very fast refresh rate. In fact, I think that this runs even smoother than the regular Hyundai system. I'm quite impressed with this. Take a look here into Google Maps. Also quite nice. Okay. So there you go. There is what Apple CarPlay looks like here on our screen. It reacts so quick. It's really nice, and it fits the screen fully. And the good thing about this is if you do need to quickly get out of Apple CarPlay and you don't want to, well, I guess you've got that quickly there, but say that you are on Spotify and you quickly need to do something in your settings, you can click Setup and it will take you straight there. So sometimes nice to have physical buttons down here to just take you to things quicker than you're able to get to them in the touch screen. Okay, let's unplug our iPhone and plug in our Android phone to take a look quickly at Android Auto. Keep in mind, guys, this is not an active Android phone because I only have one phone and it's an iPhone. So the Android Auto, we aren't able to view some things, but you will still be able to see on a basic level how the system runs and how it looks on the screen, which is really all that matters. Android Auto is connected. A slightly lower resolution here, but we see that quite a bit with Android Auto. It doesn't look quite as nice as Apple CarPlay. But it's looking like we're going to have a full screen, so that is nice. A full screen Android Auto, very nice here to see that on this 8-inch touchscreen. Reacts pretty quickly, not quite as fast, I don't think, as Apple CarPlay. Maybe it does. It seems to run pretty smoothly. We'll take a look here into YouTube Music. That seems to run pretty smoothly as well. You can see the refresh rate here. Not too bad. Okay. Well, there is Android Auto. Just a very brief look here. In and out there. Cool. All right. Hyundai button there to go back. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Overall, a really nice system, and just the Hyundai Venue overall, the value here for money seems to be a pretty good deal, especially considering that this is a top-of-the-line car, the limited trim, and for 23 grand, you're able to get quite a lot of features here, and one of them being this quite nice and quite attractive, fast, easy-to-use infotainment system. So, a good mark for me here. I quite enjoyed this system, and I hope that this video has been somewhat helpful for you guys here. And if you want to learn more about the Hyundai Venue, we will have links in the description to our review, fuel economy tests, and so on. So thank you all so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.